Good afternoon, class. This is Mr. Walker. Hello, all you people of the internet waiting for this math. Let's get into this. All right. Um, right here, we're talking about simplifying non-perfect squares for all you guys. Now, we've talked about approximating perfect squares, but we need to actually make sure that we can understand how to go through and deal with these non-perfect squares without just guessing. Now, when we're doing this, this is mostly so we can go through and deal with perfect squares in a more mathematical way. So let's take a look at these in a calculator. Now, we know that perfect squares are numbers that we can take the square root of, and we would get a whole number, like 7. Now, non-perfect squares are answers that are not exactly just a whole number. They give us quite a bit of a decimal, like this. Now, I know if I were to go through and deal with this in terms of math, like let's say if I wanted to take the square root of 48 and then add that to 2. This right here isn't exactly the cleanest, thing for us to go through and do, you know, different math, different types of math with. That's mostly because of this nasty little part right here. Now, this isn't exactly the entirety of the number. This is just how much the calculator is able to show because there's a finite amount of space on the calculator. So, in order for us to not have to deal with putting out this decimal every single time, we go through and we do kind of a simplified version of this. Now, in order for us to do this, this involves a little bit of factoring. So we're going to go through and do a quick review on factors right here. So let's zoom in here quickly. So we're going to have to manipulate different numbers by factoring. And if you don't remember what a factor is, this is something you guys probably haven't heard of in a minute because it's honestly been a minute. So factors are the numbers that form a product. Now, keep in mind, the word product, that means that there's multiplication involved. Okay? Just want to make sure that you are aware of this, okay? So, we're going to look at a couple numbers on multiply to give us another number. So, for this first example, we're going to be looking at 6. So, we got quite a couple pairs of numbers that we could look at. So, let's look at numbers that we normally deal with, like 1 times 6. 1 times 6 happens to give us 6. Since both of these multiply to give us 6, that means that 1 times 6 is a factor, or 1 and 6. I'm actually typing 1 and 6. So these two numbers are factors of 6. I feel like I've said that a lot. Now, next thing, what else multiplies to give us 6? We know that 2 times 3 also gives us 6. Because 2 times 3 gives us this, that means that not only are 1 and 6 factors, 2 and 3 are also factors. So, what I'm asking you are, what are the factors of 6? We have 2 pairs of numbers that work for this. So that means that all 4 of these numbers, 1, 2, 3, and 6 are all the factors of 6. Sorry about that. Now, we got a couple more examples we're going to do. Now, these bottom ones, that's going to be up for y'all to do. I'm going to check those when I get through to checking your notebook. These, let's go through and check them out, okay? First off, what's the factors of 21? If you want to, what I do is I go through and pair off the numbers in multiplication groups. So let's look at one multiplication group for us. So we know 1 times 21 because everything can be multiplied by 1 to give itself. So you're always going to see in these lists 1 is one of the factors. So that's one group. And another group we have is 3 and 7. So 7 times 3. So all four of these are actually the factors of 21. Now, for this next one, what are the factors of 31? Well, we know 1 and 31 give us 31. There's also other multiplications that we can do, but those usually involve us using decimals for this case. We don't necessarily want any decimals involved when we're looking at these factors, which means that this number, 31 and 1, these are the only factors of this. This is called a prime number. So, a prime number. This is going to come up for a couple of these things that we're going to be doing in this next part of our notebook. So keep that in mind, okay? All right, let's take a look at the next one here. So what are the factors of 24? So we know there's quite a few factors for this. So let's look. We got 1 times 24. We also got, let's see, 2 times 12. Then there is, let's see, there is 3 and 8. So 3 times 8. And then there is 6 times 4. So 6 times 4. So this one actually has quite a few of them with us. So I wrote them all out in their multiplication groups. 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 6 and 4. So these are all its factors. Now, go through. You guys are going to be doing these next ones on your own. Now this comes into play. This factoring comes into play when we're trying to solve and find out the different non-perfect square roots and how to simplify them. I'm going to let you guys go through and do this first. Come back and we're going to take a crack at this next part together, okay? See you in a few.